Hello. So today I thought I would discuss about a word or a concept, and that is trigger. 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 And so what is that? And so you can use it in many different ways. And I think today it's used more like in a psychological way or an emotional way. So we'll talk about that. Oh, emotional. You could do backwards or forwards, emotional. It's whatever's comfortable for you, emotional. Just like chemistry, science, emotional, because it's all the stirring up of the emotions that are here. And so the first way to sign trigger is trigger. Like here's your whatever that's triggering you, and it hits really fast. Another way to do trigger is something that's in the back of your head and it's brought into your brightly into your mind. It was a trigger. So a trigger or a trigger is something that causes you to either think, it's always think, right? Feel or do. So it can be a trigger causes you to feel whatever or to think back or to think this way or to do something. Like for example, here's an easy part is years ago, I went back to my childhood home. And it was so funny because I had a trigger, but it was the smell of crayons. Crayons. You could do crayon this way, crayons this way, like you're drawing. And I could smell like crayons. And I thought, wow, that is so weird because I had lived in that home during elementary school, but I could smell crayons. So that was a trigger, or it was brought to my mind, flashed, it was back in my mind, and now it's flashing to the front of my mind. So it was interesting to have that. But many times people have triggers that cause a strong response in that sense, maybe an action or immediately think of something that is wrong or bad or causes you to do something that may be negative in general. Um, So that trigger was not bad. It was just really a memory, right? But there's some things that there's a trigger that's going to cause us like to immediately shut down emotionally, or it's going to cause us to think a specific way, and it's the wrong thinking pattern, or it's going to cause us to do something and we had totally misunderstood. So, so triggers in the psychological sense sometimes mean something negative. What is your trigger? What causes you to think a specific way? Um, Another way that we use that word trigger is, well, we have like a gun, right? And we know that there is a trigger that you pull, that you click on, or if you have it like this and you click on it this way, a trigger, you pull the trigger this way. So either way, we usually do it like this for gun, but that's usually kind of pulling it back. And really the trigger is this, right? Because you have your gun and you pull the trigger like a rifle. So that's how we use trigger also. But there's another way that we use that word trigger, and it was like I just went ahead and I pulled the trigger, but that wouldn't be the sign, right? It's like I thought about it, and then I just went ahead and did it. I just pulled the trigger. And so that is a phrase that was used before. I don't know. I've not heard that in a long time, so maybe it's not used anymore. But people would say that, go ahead, just pull the trigger. Just go ahead and do it, right? So you would kind of sign that. You just go ahead. I thought about it. I just went ahead and did it. And you have to have that, that whole body, and facial expression to show, you know that it's felt strongly, or it's immediate, or it's just automatic, or something like that. A trigger in a psychological sense is more of an automatic response. But like when you just go ahead and do it, and then I'm spelling it, I just went ahead and did it, right? And deaf people do spell like little words like that. I just went ahead. I just did it. Or I went ahead and I just left. I pulled the trigger. Because that's something that you kind of think about it and think about it, and then you're just going, well, I don't know what to do, so I just went ahead and did it, right? Do it. You could even say, I could even see deaf people doing did, and then I just went ahead and did, or I just went ahead, did it. I spelled did it. That because that's a habit for me. I would spell it when I would have a strong emphasis. So those are several ways on how we use that word, but I think most people use trigger or trigger to have an emotional response. It's an automatic response where the way you think, however you want to use that one, the way you react, and the way that you do something like in the future. And that can cause a lot of misunderstandings, or maybe wrong. Oh, I was wrong. And then later you got to apologize. Oh, wrong me. So the psychological part, they want y'all to be aware, and me too. So all of us, all y'all, right? And what is your trigger? What is your trigger that causes you to do, and then try to change your thinking patterns or your way of behaving? So, trigger, 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 right? Okay, so go out there, just go out there and do it, and practice. I will see y'all later. Bye.